was the recovery process from like after the surgery to waking up to feeling good to actually being able to walk with your prosthetic, actually being able to function as a normal human being? Because I will say this, Chris, now you can't sit there and treat this man like a disabled person. He's not gonna allow you to do that. He's just not gonna allow you to do it. You can say, yo, bro, I got the, oh, yo, bro, serious? Like, nah, bro, I'm good. Like, what are you doing? Why you trying to carry my bag? I'm not no girl. What are you doing? So he's not gonna allow you to do that, which I respect a lot. So what was the timing? Like, how long did it take to actually be able to do stuff on your own again, relearn how to, actually function without it being an issue?
Um, that's a great question. Uh, I want to say like in totality, like in full totality,
Hmm.
uh, it took about a year to a year and a half.
Okay.
Um, which for 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 some people that's awesome. Like,
Hmm.
because a lot of people struggle with a lot of things. Yo, I had so much wrong with me, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I had so much wrong with me. Like I said, I got shot in my left arm. I got nerve damage in my left arm to where my hand isn't fully functional. I grew up left-handed. like
Oh man. So
like
wow.
yeah, I grew up left-handed, so I'm used to using my left hand for everything, just off, instinct alone. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
um, I literally started out by learning to write right-handed. So, I figured out how to write right-handed, and then after a while, going through occupational therapy, I started figuring it out with the left hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm back to using my left hand as far as writing is concerned. But that took months. Like, that took a couple months. And mind you, I didn't start like intense rehab. I got shot in January. I didn't start like real intense rehab until like March,
Right.
the end of March, like getting close to April. Because it was still ugly between January and February.
Right.
I had a lot of like I ended up having to have a lot of surgeries during that period. But it started with my hand and learning how to write and stuff like that, while at the same time building up strength in my left leg. So I lost my right leg, um and they was prepping me for the prosthetic situation. So like it started with like going really, really hard on my left leg, like just
Hmm.
building up as much strength in my left leg as possible, so that my left leg would be able to support the other side of my body.
Right.
And um, from there, I got transferred from like Christiana Hospital up to Moss Rehab up in Elkins Park, PA, and a lot of the same stuff. A lot of the same stuff. I ended up getting my prosthetic leg. I ended up getting my first prosthetic leg uh like around May or June.
Right.
And so I didn't start being able to walk like or just walk around until like I want to say July 2015. July
Okay.
2015 is when I was like back on my feet, back to walking. And it wasn't perfected or anything like that, but it was good enough to get around for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um and then from there, the rest of that year was just focused on getting stronger, getting my body back stronger. And then I didn't know a lot of the process as far as being an amputee is concerned. Um, and this I don't think it's for everybody. Like, insurance plays a big factor in some of this stuff too. But uh, I the first leg that I got was just like a starter prosthetic leg. It was just literally something to get me back on my feet and get me back walking, but it
Right.
wasn't a long term leg. And so at the end of 2015, I ended up getting another prosthetic leg. It's basically kind of what I have now. They've just, refitted and made changes to it over the years, but it's a way more like natural prosthetic in terms of the motion, the steps and things like that. Like
Right.
my steps look way more natural now than what they did with the first prosthetic leg. But with that, it weighs probably like 20 pounds more.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, yeah, a good like 15, 20 pounds more than what the original leg weighed. And so I had to go back to the hospital, or I had to go back to the rehab facility and stay there again to learn how to use this leg and get even more stronger, because I wasn't used to moving all that weight just to get
Right.
around. And so that took its time. That took us, that took a little minute. Um, and then this is just like, because I'm trying to make sure that I go like stay on topic with your question. This is just literally the the getting up process, like the getting
Right.
up and getting back to like semi normal functions. This
Right.
isn't still even talking about like driving, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so that's why it ended up taking as long as it did, as far as going out to like a year and a half goes, because I still had to learn how to drive again. Like, I lost my right leg. You drive with your right foot.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn how to drive on my left foot.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, because I didn't want to get modifications done to my vehicle,
Yeah.
because at the time, like, I got shot in my mom's car. Like, it was my car, but it was my mom's car.
Right.
And so after the shooting, she was using the new car that I ended up getting. So I didn't want to get like modifications done to that car when she was still using it.
Right.
And so I ended up having to learn how to learn how to drive on my left foot. And so that took that took its time. By a year and a half, I was back to like, you know, just back to normal stuff, like back to moving
Wow.
around, back to getting out there a little bit more. I was still big on like I still had a lot as far as my health was concerned that I needed to get right, but I was at least back on my feet. You know what I mean?
Right. Wow. See, a year and a half.
Yeah, bro.
Dang. And you had to pretty much retrain, relearn your body.
Like, to the max, bro. Like, I went from having two legs to having one.
Yeah.
And I went from like all at the age of 20. Like,
Yeah.
I was a baby still, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it's so much that comes with being an amputee that I had to learn how to be an amputee. Like,
Yeah.
I had to learn my body from that standpoint, because it's so much maintenance that comes with my right leg now, that if I'm not on top of that, it makes my life harder, because then that just makes walking harder. That just
Oh
makes
wow.
everything about um everything that I work so hard for that much harder. So I gotta be on top of like my skincare and the size of my leg. Like, I gotta be on top of my weight, which is, when as like a 20-year-old, you're not really, I mean, some people are, but you're not really too much
Yeah.
thinking about like, making sure that my body kind of stays the same. And
Yeah.
naturally, as a 20-year-old, your body ain't gonna stay the same.
Yeah.
Like,
You're right.
I went from being like a twig and being skinny to, putting weight on and stuff. And so I had to I still to this day have to be on top of the size of my leg, the fit of my prosthetic, um, making sure that I'm communicating with my prosthetist about the fit of my leg,
You say
making sure
prostitute?
my prosthetist.
Oh, all right, all right. I just want to make sure, bro. I was like prostitute. I'm like, whoa, dude.
Nah, my prosthetist,
Uh,
my guy Angelo over at Allied Orthopedics in Elkins
yeah.
Park. But no, I gotta stay on. I genuinely, literally have to stay on top of it, or it just makes my life harder, because then I can't walk around as
Right.
comfortably as I would like to, and I can't like it. I try and be like super thoughtful in a lot of stuff. I'm not always as thoughtful as I should be, but that's neither here nor there. Um, when it takes its toll on me, right, it ends up taking its toll on everybody around me too.
Yeah.
Because to your earlier point, people don't want to treat me like I'm disabled. People don't want to look at me
Right.
as if as if I'm lesser than, or as if I can't do for me. But then when you see me struggling, or when you see me going through some things and you love me, like, you can't help but want to be there for me. And you know I can't do the things that I would want to do with the people that I love
Right.
because of certain limitations and stuff like that. And so it ends up not just only affecting me, which is what I've come to learn, about the entire incident in general, not just as
Yeah.
far as my health is concerned, but putting my life in jeopardy the way I did. Like, it don't just it, I'm not the only person that it affects. Like, it affects everybody around me. Um
Right.
and then they have to figure out how to deal with it too,
So
so
so back to the like the health thing. Like, what are you able to do when it comes to like exercising? Like, is it just a couple things, like some light things? Like, what are you able to do to kind of control the weight, or is it just a dietary thing?
nah, it's all of it. At this point, because my body has gotten all these, like, this was 2015. It's 9 years later now,
Right.
so I'm way stronger now than I was at that time. My body is way stronger. So it's about number one, using the leg, wearing the leg. Like, so a lot of amputees, um, they end up building bad habits where they don't wear their leg as often as they should,
Oh wow.
you know. And so when you get used to not wearing your leg, you start finding ways to be comfortable with not using your leg. And I wasn't going to be that person. I didn't want
Yeah.
that. I didn't want that for myself. So a lot of it, you can just start by just wearing the leg every single day,
Yeah.
being up on your feet, like being active. So I got to make sure that I maintain a certain level of activity. I got to make sure that I'm walking at a bare minimum, that I'm walking, what I'm
Right.
saying? And that, I go to the gym, like, I do normal workouts for the most part, but at a bare minimum, I gotta be walking.
Yeah.
I gotta watch what I'm eating, although I don't, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
because it's just like, it's just life, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Especially when you want to move sometimes, or like, not always conscious of the meals that I have, but um, being at least semi conscious of what I'm eating, watching what I'm putting in my body, um, going for doctor checkups regularly. I go see my doctor every month.
Oh
I go.
wow.
So staying on top of my doctor's appointments, communicating with my doctors, letting them know how I'm feeling, how I'm feeling, um, and then, like I said, like, involving everybody around me too, because um, if you can't, like, if you're not going to be like empathetic to the circumstances, if you're not going to like try and be there for the circumstances, at least to a little bit of degree, you don't have to make it your life, what I'm saying?
Right.
Because ultimately you're not in the shoes, but you gotta, I have to, like, be able to have people around me that's gonna, like, wanna push me and wanna, like, see me, see me still doing things, and not allowing what not allowing a disability or
Right.
a circumstance to dictate how I live my life. So that's
Right.
big. That's big. That's huge. Is having people that, like, know what the situation is, understand the situation, and, like, don't allow me to make excuses.
Right. Yeah, and I think just to tell a quick story, I think when we all went to Houston, I don't think we did any of that. I think we kind of just let you do everything you did, and if you needed help, we assisted you, but kind of let you rock out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. After 9 years, like that's the thing, like me and Coley done taken a couple, a couple trips.
Right,
Um, so Coley been there and he's seen. We went to Miami back in the day to go see go see Sneed.
right.
Um, like what was that? Maybe like 17ish. I think that might have been 2017, but I'm probably off.
Hmm.
But yeah, so like people have seen that like I'm 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 good, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Me and my shorty or whatever, we took trips on the regular, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, yeah. I do remember
we
that.
moved around this whole country. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Me and my brother Rob, we moved around, you know what I'm saying? I always had people that like I said wasn't going to really allow me to make excuses
yeah,
for not moving around. And like you said, you know what I'm saying? If it comes down to a situation where I I clearly need a little bit of help, then you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Y'all love me. Everybody, the people I'm with on a regular basis love me. So
yeah,
naturally, you know what I'm saying, if I need it, they going, they y'all going to help out. But I'm so like the one thing that bothered me the most at the beginning was the loss of the independence.
yeah,
Like like losing my independence at 20 years old, like
yeah.
being in a wheelchair,
That was a
having to
gut check.
bro, it was like the wake up call of all wake up calls.
Yeah,
Like, you know, I gotta check my ego sometimes because I was in like a weird space. Like I was in a a traumatized state. Like everything changed for me, and like I had to literally push myself. I had to literally keep going on the days that I didn't want to go to PT and that I
right,
didn't want to get up and do nothing. I had to keep on telling myself, "Yo, you gotta go," because like I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be that person that wasn't independent. I didn't want to be that person um that that just laid down and like I'm already going to get labeled as a victim. Like
right,
I don't want to, like live my life as if like I can't do or I can't be me. And so I had to fight, man, and a lot of that was rebuilding my ego, like rebuilding my pride in myself and saying like, yo, this happened and you can't change what happened now. Like it was done is done. Nobody is a winner in the situation. We all lose
right,
for real, for real. But when it comes down to it, like, do you wanna stay down? And do you wanna like just just be in a wheelchair or just walk around on crutches every single
right,
day, walk with a cane, or do you do you wanna do you want to be who you was to the best of your ability and better? Like, do you want
right,
to be the best version of who you can be? And that's like it's kind of small, but then it's also like huge to a degree because I had to literally lock in on that and tell myself that like at a bare minimum, man, I'm going to get my independence back. Like
yeah,
I'm going to I don't want to skip a beat. Like I don't want to I don't want to have to rely on anybody for anything. I don't want to have to need somebody for anything. It's always
right,
great to have people there for you and I got a lot of people that's there for me to this day. If you cross paths with me, I know you love me. Like it's kind of
right,
natural. But I just didn't want to have to I didn't want to have to see myself in a wheelchair. I didn't want to have to, and some people can't help it, but I
right,
was fortunate enough to be able to be in a position where if I took enough control, that I would be a better version of who I was, or at least an evolved version of who I was. And so it was, you know, it was a big mental thing, but at the end of the day, I chose to be better.
Yeah, and I can see that because even now, like a lot of people, if that was to happen to them, or if they're dealt with a situation that's a little bit of a big struggle, they'll kind of just lay down and take it. But I've seen that from knowing you all these years, you haven't done that. You still go out and get a job. You still go out and do interviews. You still go out and try to do things for the community. You don't stop. You do everything a regular person would does and will do, but to a little bit more of an initiative and a little bit more effort. So that is taking back your life. And a lot of people I think can learn from that from this episode and understand that whatever whatever trials and tribulations, whatever issues you're going through, just know that there's somebody that doesn't have everything that you may not have and is still grinding, still doing what they got to do, still getting up in the morning, not sitting down, not laying down, not letting that depressive bug get in their ear and want to lay down and sleep all day. There's people still out here grinding and they missing their leg or they're missing something. So people have to take that into consideration. But bro, I applaud you. I love you. Um,
I
and
love you too, bro.
it takes a lot to keep going and keep pushing. And I know it's a lot on you. I know it can be a little bit more of a struggle, but you already know when you have people here for you, like you said, I'm always here for you. I'm a phone call away. I'm a text message away, and you already know I got you. It's not even a question. You just let me know
Always,
you just let me know when and where.
always.
But what's some last minute advice you can give to people um in this situation of just about violence, guns, or dealing with a disability? What is something you can give to individuals dealing with that?
Um, this is like I mean, it's for everybody, but I hope it. I hope this gets to young people, man, because like I said, I was 20 years old. Um, and I'm honest enough with myself to say that I put myself in that situation that night. Like I didn't have to be there. I didn't have to be doing that. I thought I had to be doing that. Like I told myself that this is what I had to do. This is what I knew. This is where I come from. This is what I grew up knowing. So this is what I got to do to quote unquote be a man or just be able to take care of myself. But um, it's important to think about the choices that you make in life, man. Like it's super important to think about the choices that you make and thinking things through before you do anything. I'm not perfect, so I still got to work on that to this day. Like that's an everyday thing for me in terms of the choices that I make, and you know, being conscious of the the outcome of those choices, whatever repercussions may come from those choices. So, like, my advice, especially to young people, is just to be mindful of the choices that you make and think about who they also impact, because, I don't know everybody's life. And so I don't want to assume, but I think it's a safe assumption to say that everybody has somebody that cares about them. You know what I mean? Like we all got somebody that we could think of that loves us or that cares about us, wants to see us doing well. And so you got to think about them people at all times before you do anything. Think about how whatever choice that you are about to make may impact them. Um and if you do that, I promise you that like you'll you'll stay away from certain things. You'll be more mindful of certain things because you won't want to see the people that love you the most hurting. You know, so that's what I would say. That's what I would say to my young people coming up because it's a lot of influences that's going to pull you this way, that's going to pull you that way, that's going to try and get you to steer down a certain path. But it's important to think about your choices, think about your life, and think about the people that love you. As far as people with disabilities go, um, my biggest advice is to be vocal, be your biggest advocate. Like Be your biggest advocate at all times. Don't wait for somebody else to speak up for you. Don't wait for somebody to assume anything. Um, be your voice. You know. When it comes to being disabled and when it comes to medical things, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of it is insurance, man. A lot of it is um being able to even be seen, or being able to having the ability to even go to a doctor or be seen by a medical professional, because reality is some people don't have that luxury. Some people aren't able to just go to a doctor's office and get seen, get treatment, which is sad and
Right.
disgusting. But you gotta be, if you are fortunate enough to be able to get medical attention and like actively have a medical professional that you're in the care of, be your biggest advocate. Speak up for yourself. You know, let them know when something's going on with you. Let them know when you're feeling a certain type of way, because at the end of the day, if they don't know, it's impossible to help you.
Absolutely.
So be your biggest advocate as far as anybody. You don't have to be disabled, but just period. If you're going through something, let somebody know for sure.
Okay. Absolutely. And I think that was a beautiful message. Um, and just to piggyback off of that, what Chris said, if it goes back to the old saying, a closed mouth don't get fed. Well, if nobody knows what you're saying, nobody understands the pain you're going through or the struggles you're going through, then nobody can assist you. So always speak up, always speak out, and let your voice be heard. All right. Um, but moving on, CP, that was beautiful, brother. Thank you for sharing your story. Hopefully the audience appreciates it. But that was great. It was impactful, and definitely almost had me crying in the beginning. I'm not even gonna lie. But
I love you,
moving.
bro.
I love you too, my guy.